on Facebook right now. So, hello.
Hello, Facebook. Welcome to Monday with the Mavens. You guys missed our little intro, but we're going to talk all things Macro Mavens today. So
We are.
hang out with us.
And so I just have to talk about a little bit of a blessing this morning. So, we have clients from all over, and we're so thankful for that. All a variety of geographical, not even actually just in the U.S. In fact, we do a Zoom every morning with any clients that can
Not
join.
every morning.
Sorry, every Monday morning.
Every Monday morning.
With any clients that can join in just to talk strategy and answer questions and that sort of thing. And man, this morning, we have a gal from Mexico. We have it's just so cool.
So
and
fun.
regardless of where you are, we all have goals, we all have desires. But what I wanted to share is I have a client who she has been with us, a little more than a year now. And I've actually known her. She's local to Southern Oregon. I've known her for a lot of years. And when she first reached out, she just really didn't think that change was possible. And she struggled out of the gate, to really get into a good rhythm, but she did it. She did it. And fast forward about a year, not everybody needs to be in the program for a full year, but fast forward to about a year, and she joined our functional fitness class this morning for the first time. We teach Monday, Tuesday, Thursday mornings, and anyways, she came, she
Killed
crushed
it. Yeah.
She looks and feels amazing. She is down over 50 pounds, which honestly, that's not even the most impressive part. She's stronger. She has reduced pain. She's sleeping better. Her outlook on life is so much more positive. Her life has transformed in the last year. And she did a hard workout this morning. She doesn't typically do resistance training. What she shifted was her nutrition and her mindset, and she is as active as she ever was as far as walking and hiking. So she's going to start adding some resistance training in. And you guys, to see that firsthand,
Man.
it was such a blessing. And we have clients every single day with those kind of outcomes. And I'm just so thankful to get to be a small part of it.
It is. And one of my favorite things about all of this is the little wins that our clients tell us about. I had a client who messaged me just this morning. Sorry about this, halo over my head. It's just natural. It's just natural. But a client messaged me this morning and was like, I climbed Mount McLaughlin this weekend for the first time and just crushed it. She's like, it was hard, but I did it and went to the very top. And you know what? That is why we're here. And that is the heart of Macro Mavens is we want to give people their life back. And I think a lot of people don't realize, or they don't realize it's within them anymore to do that, And so to give them a little bit of some skills and some things that they can implement into their lives in order to get their lives back is huge. Yeah. It's huge.
And, we've been lifelong students, and we had, different careers prior to this, and we're a year and a half in, and we've taken some big leaps of faith because we believed in this mission so much and really wanted to make a difference that, we took risk. And oh my gosh, you guys, it's, I'm just really thankful. I'm super thankful. So thank you for letting us do this and for being here. And if you're just joining in, if you guys have any questions, please ask as we go. We're just going to kind of tackle things one by one. So let's just start with who is Macro Mavens? What's our mission statement?
Well, it's easy. It's really simple, and we like to keep it that way because we are simple people.
Yeah.
Well, we're very complex women, but but our motto is, first of all, we want you to feel good, look good, and then do good. So a lot of people come to us right off the bat, wanting to look different. And our thing is, if you feel good, then you naturally exude a look that is also good. So we want you to feel good, we want you to look good, and then we want you to turn around and give back, and so to do good. So super simple, but that is our mission.
We love it.
Yeah.
And it's stayed so true, and it's so fun. We didn't actually intend to have such a play off of some of these different things as we got started, and it's so fun. And our Macro Mavens continues to grow and develop and add, services and things, and really, and I know I ended with what's in the future, but I'm going to start with what's in the future. I hope that's okay.
Well, I'm not sure which part of the future you're going to talk about, so I'll just wait and see what you say. Because last week, I'm pretty sure, last Thursday, she's like, shh, You can't say that.
I'm not going to fully say that.
Okay,
but,
good. Because that's a secret.
I know. But, you know, obviously, foundationally, we are all about nutrition. Like, you can, in my opinion, you can reverse the large majority of disease with food.
Like big time disease, diabetes, MS. Like, we're talking big stuff.
Yeah, and those are big claims that I have seen it time and time again. And our goal is to really, first and foremost, partner with our clients to have a individualized, strategic approach to understanding how to eat to fuel their body and their brain and to reach their goals in a sustainable way that is a lifestyle shift. It's not a fad diet. It's understanding what you need to be what you want to be, like really. And that process looks a little bit different for everybody, and everybody's goals are different. And so we absolutely are going to remain, like, foundationally, we are all about nutrition. We're also about education, and we're going to continue to expand that. You know, we continually increase our protocols that we ourselves really strive to follow, but that we want to have tools for our clients depending on their areas of interest, depending on their areas of struggle. We're always coming out with new things. We have our, you know, deep and restorative sleep protocols, our non-inflammatory protocols, our, you know, if successful travel protocols, our are you feeling sick protocols, our stress resilience protocols. Like,
and honestly, we only share like some of those with the general public, but our clients have access to all of the things that we create, all of our educational tools that really help them to be the most successful that they can be.
They are, and we're really excited because if you start simple with nutrition and you really learn how to do that, and then, because if you throw too much of it out of the gate at once, it can be really difficult to have it all stick, right? I think statistically they say the more you try to do out of the gate, the less likely you'll be successful long term. So it's those small, steady shifts that move you towards optimal health and longevity. And if we can start with nutrition and then really work on some of these other really important areas like sleep and stress and gratitude and movement and hydration, like those all just come naturally. And then you start having more energy. And we've already added our MM program, which is an add-on program for existing clients if they want individualized exercise instruction. And so there's a whole nother wellness component that we're really looking forward to launching in the future. So like the future is bright and we are here for it.
Yep. And there's even secrets that we're not going to tell you about in the future. And
Secret.
that's all very exciting. Because, I mean, I like to have secrets. And
Yeah.
once our secrets are revealed, then there will be more secrets.
I know. It's just kind of yeah, it's so fun. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about like who we are. I don't think we need to get into the weeds as to like why we started, all of that. Let's just talk nitty gritty. Let's talk about
Wait, what? What'd you say?
Let's talk nitty gritty.
Nitty gritty.
I think I just slurred it.
Let's
Sorry.
talk nitty gritty.
Let's talk about our process.
Yeah.
Like, okay, somebody raises their hand and says, "I want to feel better.
Sign me up."
Sign me up. Like, what? Let's before we even get into like the cut maintenance. Like, what does a person do if they're interested?
Well, right now would be a great time to be interested because we do have a special going on that I'll just mention it real quick right here. We have 25% off the first month, the first month of any one of our packages right now. So if you're thinking about signing up, now's a great time. You head to macromavens.life, you click the hop on board button, and then a coach will reach out to you. We ask you to fill out a little quick survey that gives us some basic information, how to contact you, kind of, just tells us a little bit about you so that we're not going into this blind. And then we either call you or text you or whatever you want. And then we get a little bit more information. We have a conversation. We are not like salespeople. We are not
Has to be right for you.
Yeah. If it's not the right time, like we would rather you sign up and be in the right time and space in your life for this than for you to sign up wishing that you were and it being a struggle for everybody.
Yep.
We don't want you to waste your money. We don't want to waste our time. And so like we are absolutely 100% comfortable being like, you know what, if it's a better time for you in a month down the road or whenever that is, like absolutely, we're not going to pressure you. And so So yeah, you click the hop on board button, you fill it out, a coach gets a hold of you, we have a conversation. If you're ready to sign up then your coach will send a link to you for whatever program, either 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. And you click that button and then you start the ball rolling. Let's talk a little bit about why we ask people to commit for 3 months minimum right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that, we're not a quick fix. We are all about long-term sustainability. And sure, there are things that you can do that are drastic to, let's just talk about fat loss, to maybe have a fairly significant drop in fat loss fairly quickly. But then to be able to sustain those results, you have to have tools to do that. We are more interested in really, depending on your goals, let's say that a goal is body recomposition and fat loss, we are more interested in first really getting your metabolism to respond and to function properly for you and to have better metabolic flexibility, and depending on what you're eating when you come to us, potentially get your calorie value higher. We're more interested in that than we are a quick fix, because that's what's going to offer long-term sustainable results and a reasonable lifestyle shift. And so that takes a little bit of time. It requires a little bit of patience and it requires consistency, but that's why you have a coach with you every step along the way. So we also have a process that for the most part, most of our clients go through, that we're going to talk about here in a minute, that starts with a reverse. And it's really difficult, even when you're super consistent, to make it entirely through a reverse and then a temporary cut and then climb back up in a 3-month time span. It can be done depending on how far from your goals you are. But a lot of people use that 3 months just as a, is this for me? And then oftentimes they extend. Our,
like
99% of the time. Yeah.
So save yourself some money and just sign up for the 6 or the 12 months.
Yeah.
You'll be glad you did it in the end. I honestly, like 99% of our clients who sign up for the 3 months end up extending, because they want to know more and they want to experience the entirety of the program. So
yeah, for sure. So then once you've done that, let's say that you've signed up. Now, and for those of you guys just joining us, first of all, we're looking at 2 cameras, but we stacked them today. So if our eyes aren't our eye level with you, we apologize.
Instead of playing tennis, we're like
Facebook, Instagram. So sorry about that. But for those of you guys that are just joining us, we are talking all things Macro Mavens today. Right now we're talking about the process. So for those of you that are already clients, this is going to be a little bit of repeat, but we're going to get into some things that I think you guys are going to want to hear too. If you have any questions, if you want to share anything along the way, absolutely, please use the comment feature, and we will be sure to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So let's say that you've filled out a hop on board, a coach has been in contact, it is a good fit for you, you sign up. What's next?
So then,
go ahead.
I thought you were asking me.
Yeah, what's next?
So then you sign up, you get some emails, and you get underway. And what that looks like is we ask you to track your typical eating habits for 1 week. And that gives us a really great baseline as to what your daily eating habits look like. And this week is crucial. And I don't think that we don't ever want anybody to misunderstand what this week is for. And so, anything that goes in your mouth of any caloric value. Let's say that you have a huge Taco Bell craving daily and you go to Taco Bell every single day. We want you to track that. We are not food. We have to know. We don't want it. We are not going to food shame you. We don't even care what you are eating. All we want to know is what you ate for the week, and we want it to be a pretty typical representation of what a typical week looks like for you. Because then what we do on the back end of that is, after your first initial week of tracking, we look at your numbers, we look at how much protein, carbs, fat, your calories, and we create an assignment based on what you're already eating. So if you feel like, and I think some people do this, if you feel like this is my last week of freedom and I am going to just go crazy, I'm going to eat all the cake and drink all the drinks and do all the things because I know when I start a new plan, I'm going to have to like eliminate everything I love. That's not what this is about. Mm-mm. And if you do that, then your first assignment is not going to be appropriate for what you need. Yeah. And then eventually down the road, we're going to have to backtrack, and you probably won't see the success right out of the gate that we want you to. So that initial tracking week is crucial. Your honesty is crucial. Yeah. Like I said, we're not going to food shame you. We are not going to do that. Like, that is not.
We can't be the best coach that we could be without all the information.
Yeah.
And we all have our things,
yeah.
you know? And that's why, like, we have a really incredible group of coaches that you know, we all have our own individual struggles. We've seen it all. Like, there's never shame involved. Like, we want to be there to support you, to provide accountability, to provide education, to help you along the way. And the only way that we can do that is if we have all of the information.
Absolutely.
And so, like Haley said, once you get that, and it's hard because, you know, when somebody raises their hand and wants to start something, like, they want to get going. Well, it is really important for us to have that first week because we need to have a really good starting point. We take that information as well as the information that you would have put in your consult form based off of your own like individual information, like what are your goals, whether it be fat loss, body recomposition, better sleep, better energy, muscle building, like weight gain. You know, we see a huge variety. Are you currently on any medication? Are you breastfeeding?
Do you exercise? How much do you exercise? What kind of exercise do you do? We ask a whole slew of questions so that we can give you the best assignment for you specifically.
And here's the deal, like a lot of people do have some exposure with macros when they come to us, but oftentimes they've done some form of online macro calculator. And that is better than nothing, honestly. Sure. Doing anything, especially if you are doing it with consistency, can yield some results. But the problem is those online macro calculators, they put everybody in a very similar box. And so they're not looking at all of those pieces, and then they keep you at a stagnant assignment. And that's what we're going to get into here in a minute. Those that are following a stagnant assignment, you will likely have some progress for a season. But if your goal is body recomp and you really are trying to get your metabolism to fire, you have to shift that caloric threshold over time to get it to respond and to get it to continue to respond. And so we're going to get into that, but we take all the information from the consult and we take your baseline and we create your first assignment. You then take that assignment, and it can be tedious right out of the gate for some people. For others, it's a breeze. But you do track your food for a season, and I know that's the tedious part for a lot of people, but there's a science to it. Like, if you really want to make aggressive change in your health, if you can consistently fuel your body and your brain over a season of time, and the only way to do that is with specificity of weighing your food and understanding what you're utilizing and what your plate is comprised of, you won't have to do it forever. Some people choose to because they really like the freedom that it provides, but you get to a point, like, we are achieving flexible metabolisms that we can get you to a higher caloric intake with more flexibility to maintain the goals that you've achieved as you've gone through our process. So let's talk about the reverse, which is where we start most people.
Yeah. So you get your first assignment, you input that information into MyFitnessPal, and then it is off to the races. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is...
I love that phrase.
Oh, it's not new. I didn't make it
I
up.
know, but I like it. I like it.
Anyway, but this is really where your effort and your consistency is going to mean success or not. And so if we sound like a broken record, like if you message us and we're like, you got to be consistent, you got to hit your numbers. Like,
how can we help you do that?
Yeah.
Let's look at your food log. Let's shift this. Like, that's what we're here for.
And so what it is you're going to input your assignment, and it is very specific. Very rarely are we giving the same people the same assignment. Like, it is specific to your needs. To your exercise, like we had mentioned, all of the things. We give you the proper amount of protein for your body. And all these things are going to shift and adjust as we move you through the reverse. And so let's say week 1, you come out of the gates and you hit all of your targets. That's what I tell my clients. I want you to hit your targets. That means hitting your protein, your fats, and your carb goals within 5 grams. So there's a little bit of flexibility there. You can go 5 grams over or 5 grams under on each of your macros. Don't necessarily look at the calories as the guide. We want your macros to be the guide.
If you hit your macros, you automatically hit your calories.
Yep, because the calories are a bit of a range, especially since you have that 5 gram grace period. Grace period? Little flexibility. Grace window. The calories are going to be a bit of a range. So some people are like, oh, if I need to hit 1,840 calories, then that's the number. No, not necessarily. Like, there's some flexibility in there. So let's say you hit your numbers every single day for the whole week. Then you will get a notification in an email or a message that asks you to fill out a check-in form. And this is how it triggers us to be like, it's time to go in. It's time to look at your information, see how your week went. We ask a handful of questions. What did your exercise exercise look like? How did you sleep? What about water intake? How about fiber?
Are you menstruating?
Yeah, all of the important things that we need in order to either give you your next assignment or to hold you there and to kind of see what's going on physically with you. And so, like I said, the effort that you put in is going to be crucial to your success.
Yeah.
So if you're like, well, I hit my numbers on Monday, but then Tuesday I went to a party, or I just wanted to eat this cake because it was sitting at the staff room at work, and so I had a couple pieces of cake, and sorry, I have a hair like in my eye. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, there are a million reasons to not hit your numbers. Literally, like a million.
And you can still have cake.
Yeah, oh, totally. Like, as long as it fits in your
Yeah.
macros, you totally can have
Yeah.
it. But there's a million reasons to not hit your targets. And you only have to have one reason to hit your targets. And that one reason, whatever it is, whatever your why is, has to be greater than all of the reasons not to.
Yeah.
And so come back to your why. I have some clients who I ask them to like get out 5 sticky notes and put your why on sticky notes, put it on your mirror, put it on your fridge, put it in your car. Like, where are your struggle points? Like, do you want to go get a coffee from Dutch Bros every day? If that's a struggle point for you, then have a sticky note in your car, on your steering wheel, as to what is your why. Why are you doing the program? Is it because you want to chase your grandkids, or you want to go for a bike ride, or maybe you want to climb Mount McLaughlin with your family? Whatever it is, like, that has to be bigger than all of the reasons why you might be stumbled along the way.
And I think that's honestly one of the reasons why our clients have such success, is that it's one thing to be at something on your own and to have to try to figure it out, but when somebody is watching and coaching you and they truly are providing a level of accountability, like, it shifts.
Yeah.
And we look at every single client's data every single week.
Yeah.
And it can be really powerful. And so, like, to piggyback on what Haley was saying, what she was describing is this reverse process, right? And so we have a lot of clients that come in that do their first tracking week. And first of all, it's really telling when you first track your food. People are almost always like, I had no idea. Like, either that they're significantly under eating, or that they eat way less on the weekdays and way more on the weekends, or that their calorie intake is way more than they would have assumed. All, like, 9 times out of 10, if you were to ask somebody on average how many calories you think that they eat a day, and they tell you, once they've tracked a week, it's drastically different.
Yeah, and I'm a perfect example of that. My very first initial tracking week years ago, and I'm a clean eater, like, I don't eat very much processed food. I eat whole foods. And I was like, oh, I'm going to crush my initial week. Like, you're not going to have to change anything about my assignment. And I was blown out of the water. I basically was eating like 90% of my daily calories in fat.
Yeah,
good fat,
same.
avocados, nuts, healthy olive oils, coconut oil, all of those things. And I was severely under eating on my protein, and I was like basically not eating any carbs. It looked fairly keto-ish, only the fat was like through the roof. And honestly, like, this, as soon as the proportions on my macros was shifted, for one, I started feeling amazing. Had so much more energy. And, I just started reaching my goals so fast. Like, it was pretty instantaneous for me. And I think the same was true for you.
I mean, I have worked out my whole life and worked out hard. I mean, I'm a gym owner. It's an untraditional gym, jiu-jitsu and parkour. But
she owns a gym. But we do
still,
some
like,
traditional things.
Yeah, but I always felt like, my goodness, for the most part, for how clean I ate and how hard I was working, my body composition should look so much different. And it was frustrating. And obviously I want to feel good. But I'll be the first to say, like, most people have physical goals. And so it wasn't until I really, and working in the healthcare industry, natural medicine, nutrition, like, for a long time, I understood the role of inflammation in the body and all of that. But it wasn't until I actually started tracking my macros. I actually work out less, to be honest, because I understand the role. I work out differently.
Yeah.
I understand the role of recovery more. And will I ever arrive? No. Like, are there still things that I would love to perfect? Yes, but I have a balance, and I can maintain a much leaner body mass than I was ever able to just by simply shifting what was on my plate. And I actually eat far more calories now on average, I'm actually tracking again right now, but far more calories on average than I ever used to. So I was able to understand how to fuel for what I wanted, for my brain function, for my sleep, better understand the role of stress on my body from like a recovery standpoint, better understand the utilization of protein, eat more, maintain a leaner body mass. Like it doesn't have to be too complicated. And so that's why both Haley and I's experiences and our education were like, oh my gosh, like we need to scream this from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Like let's come up with a process that makes it simple, that allows other people to have access to this in a way that regardless of what their starting point is, regardless of where their goals are, like let's meet them there. And like, it's just,
And that was the birth of Macro Mavens.
It was.
Was after a conversation. We were like, yeah, I think we could probably do this and help other people. And so, anyway, I think that we need to get back on track.
Yeah.
So the reverse and okay, so you do your initial tracking week, you get your first assignment, and you smash it out of the park.
Yeah.
For one, your body will thank you, because your body and your metabolism wants to know what's coming and what's going, and it really does crave consistency day over day over day. And so that alone is going to cause huge shifts internally that maybe you won't start seeing externally for a couple of weeks. But let's say you hit all of your targets that first week, you turn in your check-in form, you hear back from your coach, you get a new assignment. Most likely your assignment is going to be increased calories and maybe a shift in your protein, carbs, or fat, depending on your goals and where you're at and different things. But you are going to get more calories. And the same is going to continue week after week after week, as long as you are hitting those targets. That's called the reverse, the climb. It's a reverse diet, right? Because a diet, typically you're eliminating food from what you're eating and you are reducing calories. And first and foremost, we want to get your metabolism working for you long before we start talking about eliminating calories or temporarily putting you in a deficit. And that we'll talk about that later. So we're going to climb you in this reverse, climb your calories. And people are like, how am I losing weight? And I'm getting more calories. And it's because your body is actually starting to work for you. It's taking the food that you're eating, the fuel, right? Because food is fuel, and it is using it for what it is supposed to be for. So protein, we will talk about protein forever until the cows come home. I think I said that last week. Because protein is the most thermogenic of all of the macronutrients, which means your body burns more processing through the protein. So, and typically people here in Western culture tend to not eat quite enough protein, depending on what your goals are. So, so as you start this climbing through the reverse process, oftentimes many of our clients find great success in that process. Let's talk about a couple of success stories maybe also.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback on what Haley was saying, because the goal of the reverse is to really repair the metabolism. We don't expect weight loss per se in the reverse, but I will say probably 80% or more of our clients do have weight loss as they're increasing calories. Because one, oftentimes people have experienced something called metabolic adaptation, which is where they've underfueled their body or inconsistently fueled their body for long enough. Our bodies are sophisticated. So it starts to go into preservation mode, and it's like, okay, I don't need as much. So your metabolism starts to stall or to not be at an optimal state, right? And so then your body requires less for the same amount of output. Or they're under eating during the week and then they're binging on the weekends. Well, their body doesn't know what to do with the excess on the weekends, and so then it stores it as fat. And there's all the processes we've talked about with, glucose and cortisol and all of the things from a fat storage standpoint. The simple act of consistently fueling yourself 7 days a week, your body starts to understand what is coming and what is going. So then as we can slowly increase your calories, the goal being week over week, and shifting your macros depending on your goals, your metabolic threshold follows suit. It slowly starts to climb as your calories climb and as you're consistently fueling your body. We almost always see body composition shifts, even if we don't necessarily see a huge weight shift, because you're shedding fat as you're preserving muscle. Then you get to the top of what we call your reverse. And depending on your goals, and we're talking about a client coming to us for fat loss right now. We're not necessarily talking about a muscle building client, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But then once you're at the top of your reverse, which we typically know from one of two things, either you feel like you're force feeding yourself and you just can't eat another bite, even if the scale keeps changing, even if your body composition keeps changing, we also want to be careful that we are not encouraging a poor relationship with food in the opposite direction. So that could be one of the things, and we might push you a little bit on that. Or the other is that your progress has stalled, or you start slightly gaining and it's not coming back down. We're probably at the top of what we call your reverse. We're going to make sure, and then we're going to make sure you're at a good place in life before we start a temporary cut. But before we go into the cut, let's talk about some
success stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse, specifically reverse success stories.
And like Emmy said, you know, oftentimes we will see clients shed a significant amount of fat in the reverse process. Sometimes it's a significant body composition shift, but the scale doesn't change that much. Every body is super individual, and how you respond to the reverse is different for everybody. So I've seen all the things, as you have too, but one client specifically started out, she significantly was under eating for years and years and years and years. And she came in, needing to shed a significant amount of fat, and she was only feeding herself about 11 or 1200 calories on average for years. And so I was really excited after her initial tracking week, because I was like, oh man, we are going to get this girl to eat more food. And I was just so hopeful that she would start shedding the fat, and that is exactly what happened. And I think that in her first reverse, she lost somewhere between 20 and 30 pounds. I can't remember exactly, but she lost a significant amount of fat during her reverse, and then continued that throughout her cut. Now, depending on how much weight somebody has to lose, you can go through the reverse and the cut process multiple times. We have clients who, you know, have been with us for over a year, actually 2 years now, almost, coming into a 2 year, I guess coming into a year and a half.
We're a year and a half.
Yeah. So anyway, who have been with us since the very beginning, and they've gone through the cut and the reverse process several times. And that's what's so great about this is if somebody has a goal of losing upwards of 100 pounds, like it's going to take multiple cycles of cutting and reversing before we get you to that goal.
And then we have other clients that we graduate out, 3-6 months, and they've done fantastic and they've maintained their results.
Yeah,
so it's just
absolutely.
really depends on where you're starting, what your goal is, how consistent you are. Like, it really dictates the timeline.
And honestly, one of the biggest complaints that our clients give us is that they have to buy new wardrobes. They're like, my clothes don't fit anymore, or they have to have their wedding rings resized, or whatever it is. So anyway, so she saw great success in her reverse, and then also in her cut. And we went through the process, I can't remember, maybe 3 or 4 times before I graduated her out just recently. And she's just crushing it. And so, and that's our goal. We don't want to hang on to our client. I mean, it's a poor business model, actually, that we graduate our clients and we're like, see you later, fly the nest, don't come back unless you need us. But that's what we want. We want this to become a lifestyle for our clients and something that they can manage on their own. So don't think that we're going to hang on to you forever. I mean,
well, we're here if you
want
us,
to,
but
we will, and we'd be happy to keep you forever. But anyway, our goal is to give our clients the tools that they need to manage this on their own. So
I actually have a client. Oh, I love all my clients, but she has referred us.
Oh my gosh.
So many new clients, and for every new client that signs up that's referred by an existing client, you get a free month of coaching at the end of your current plan. So like, she basically gets free coaching for life, right?
Basically, like, and when you get tired of coaching her, somebody else will pick her up.
Well, and she doesn't need it. Like, she's met her goal, she's surpassed her goal, she's amazing, but she loves the accountability, and so she's like, you've got me, and I'm like, I'll take you. So, which is so cool. But there's so many. I mean, we've been privileged enough to coach hundreds of clients with like a variety. Like I have female clients, I have male clients, I have people that have come just for performance, I have people that have come for weight gain, primarily muscle gain, but they really want to put weight on. The large majority of the time, I will say that most people come to us looking for fat loss, muscle preservation, increased energy, all the things that come along
balance.
with that. Yeah. And that's what's so beautiful is, we talk a lot about these other side benefits of an increase in energy, of sustained energy. We talk about just like mood stabilization, hormone harmony, deep restorative sleep. They all go hand in hand, because when you're consistently fueling your body, especially when you start to recognize the foods that make you feel good. And I think we should touch on that because technically you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits within the macros that we've given you. And that's why we don't say like, okay, eat this for breakfast, eat this for lunch, eat this for dinner. We want people to be fueling their body with what you enjoy. As long as you're hitting your macros, you will have progress. Now, we do encourage our clients to start looking at really primarily utilizing whole foods. Trying to minimize inflammatory foods, minimize processed foods, but you don't have to. I have some clients that will never eat a vegetable and
have had incredible success
because they're hitting their numbers.
Yeah.
And, could they have even had more success, or would they maybe feel better if they eliminated some of the processed things they eat? Probably, but they've met their goals and they did it eating the foods that they wanted to within their numbers.
Yeah.
So it's really up to the individual. We would not be doing our due diligence if we didn't also educate on the role of inflammation.
Yep.
And last week, if you haven't watched it, we did a whole segment on food and hormones, and we really dive into that. However, okay, we've talked about who we are, we've talked about the reverse. Now let's jump into the cut.
Okay, the cut. Now, oftentimes our clients come to us and they go through the reverse and they're just chomping at the bit to get to the cut. And like Emmy said, our goal in the reverse is to get your metabolism stabilized, balanced, firing, working for you before we even put you or even consider putting you through a calorie deficit, which we call the cut. The cut is very temporary. It is not haphazard. We make sure that there are no vacations planned, that you are at a spot in your life where you can be really consistent because, oh, sorry. I was getting so excited. I was bouncing myself off the seat. That you could be really consistent with whatever is happening in your life. So like if life is crazy, like we might not put you through a cut for a couple of weeks. We might hold you at where you're at for a bit. So anyway, generally speaking, the cut is when we reduce the amount of calories that you have been given. You're at the top of your reverse. You're eating more calories than you did when you came in. And so we have
oftentimes significantly more.
Yeah.
Like I commonly can have clients that will climb by over 1,000 calories in their reverse, meaning that by the end of the reverse, on average, they're eating more than 1,000 calories more per day than they were when they first tracked.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
It just really depends.
Yeah. So you're at the top of your reverse, which means you're either stuffing your face and you're like, I cannot eat anymore. Or maybe you're starting to gain slightly, and that's what tells us, okay, we've reached the maximum amount of calories that your body can take. It's time to reduce. So then it's a phased system. We're not going to cut you from 3,000 calories down to 1,000 calories. That would never happen.
And the beauty is now you have this high firing metabolism because it's used to getting all this fuel. And we want that cut to be very temporary because we don't want you to have that metabolic adaptation.
Yeah.
And so now you have this high revving metabolism, and now we reduce your calories. Your metabolism's still revving
working
here, but you're giving it less fuel, and so it's going to attack your fat stores.
Yep. So as we go through this phased process, it's multiple weeks. And so we talk to our clients depending, and it all varies depending on how high you were able to get in your reverse, how many calories, how low we take you in your cut. And it's all super specific. So we would never take somebody into a cut and put them in a deficit that is like so uncomfortable. They're like, I can't do it. That is not what we're about. And then we don't leave you at the bottom of your cut for very long at all. It is very fast, and then we start climbing you again. Now, the cool thing is like what Emmy said, at the bottom of your cut, your metabolism is still burning an insane amount of calories. It's used to having, let's say, upwards of 600 to 1,000 calories more than what you were giving it previously. And then we're going to cut you down, and then it's still going to be burning a crazy amount of calories, only now it is burning through your fat stores, which is exactly what we want, right? And so then after the cut is over, depending on your goals and where you're at, we're either going to climb you back up for another reverse, and that is a phased process, just like the beginning, or we are going to climb you up to a maintenance phase. And so it is just, people call it macro magic. We call it, some people are like, what kind of crazy sorcery is this?
To be eating more and consistently shedding fat, because our bodies were made to be fueled and fueled consistently. Most things in life like consistency, and man, when we can figure that out, and then you don't have to, the guesswork is taken out of it for you, right? You just know, like, I enjoy this, it fuels me, I feel better, I eat it, right? And then you understand how to comprise your plate, and now you've gone through this reverse process where we really repair the metabolism. Then we figure out what that upper end threshold is. We take you through a temporary deficit. It's really important you don't stop there. You don't want to stop at the bottom of your cut because you don't want your body to adapt back to that low calorie value. Even if you're going to climb into maintenance, we need to slowly and strategically climb you back into maintenance. Some people's bodies actually respond more in the climb than they do in the cut.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those.
Well, and let's talk about that for a minute. So, a calorie deficit or a cut is a stressor on your body.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when our body is stressed out, things, kind of tighten up and slow down.
Yeah.
And so maybe somebody had great success in the reverse and lost a bunch of weight in the reverse. And then as soon as they hit their cut, their body stops. And it's because it's in preservation mode,
Yeah.
right? And so this person may not lose a lot of weight in their cut. Like Emmy said, she doesn't. I had a client who would lose crazy amounts of weight in the reverse. And then as soon as we started cutting calories, immediately would just stop losing until we started reintroducing more calories and climbing back up. And then the weight would just come off again. So every body is so individual in how it responds. And some people are a little bit more sensitive to those stressors of reduced calories than other people.
Yeah, and it's good. You'll get to know that, about your body, and your coach watches all your trending. We, of course, look at your weight trending. We look at your measurement trending. We look at your pictures, which are very private. We see, how you're feeling, how you're sleeping, all of those things, they play a role. And so the beauty is that depending on how far from your goals, and people's goals shift. I've had clients that have actually surpassed their goal just in their reverse. So we reassess and see okay, let's talk about perfection mode, which we will never reach perfection, honestly, but we can
You can
really,
pinpoint and be very specific.
and it's super fun when you get to that point. And so now we've gone through this reverse process. We have a repaired metabolism, or a metabolism that's on its way to being more flexible. We go through a temporary deficit. Once again, we're talking more about a fat loss client here. Then we reverse you back up. We decide, are we going to maintain here for a while, or do we want to look at another cut? Or if you're interested in muscle building, we're actually going to want to be in a surplus for a season so that you can really build, or at least stay at maintenance, which will be slower muscle building, but it is possible. And so then, if that's the case, and a goal is to really build muscle, you have to have wood to build a house, right? You have to have fuel to build a body. So if you are in that mode, then when we really go through, and you're going to have to be doing some form of resistance training to actually build muscle. You have to have muscle to see muscle, right? So not all of our clients have to exercise. We have a lot of clients that have not changed at all what they do from a physical movement standpoint, and they just address their nutrition, and they have fantastic results.
But
Yeah.
like Emmy said earlier, we wouldn't be doing our due diligence as coaches to not suggest that you move your body every single day. And we would really encourage, and we do encourage all of our clients to have some form of resistance training. It is foundational for health to be able to pick up heavy things and set them back down. It builds your bones. It keeps your muscles strong. It keeps your brain functioning. All of the things that we want in order to carry us into a long, healthy life. And so, yes, we will encourage you to have some type of an exercise regimen in your life.
Even if it's just walking. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Resistance training, yes, is super important for health, longevity, bone health, hormone health, all the things. But just moving your body. Now, if you're not moving at all when you come to us, we are not going to encourage that right out of the gate. We're going to want to get nutrition in check. But then once we really get that underway, we are going to start encouraging you to move more. It's not a must, but it is definitely something that we want to educate on along the way. So, and we have challenges and all sorts of fun things to help you with that.
Yeah, we also have a fitness coach who is off the charts incredible. And it's an add-on program for our current clients called Fit. And it's pretty spectacular.
It is. And she focuses on recovery and breath work too, and that is just as important as the movement piece.
Yeah, in fact, what I love about Fit, and I can say this because it's not my MN Fit is not mine at all. It is.
Well, it's part of Macro Mavens.
Well, it's part of Macro Mavens, but it's
we
like
didn't develop it.
It is the brainchild of Sarah Lugman,
Yeah.
and what she can teach on and educates us on as far as like breath work and mindfulness and recovery and mobility are all things that, as a chronic exerciser my whole life, are things that I have not paid attention to, that I think are absolutely foundational at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Nope, I totally agree. Okay, so now we've talked about our reverse process, we've talked about our cut. Then in maintenance, let's say that you've now reached your goals and you have achieved a more flexible metabolism, you are feeling good, you are sleeping good, you are energetic, you have more naturally balanced hormones, you understand how to fuel your body, you have tools to be able to have success and still enjoy life and go to parties and go to barbecues and do celebrations and all the things. Then in maintenance, we're going to give you, if you want to continue to track, you're going to have a more flexible window of calories, and you're going to have a pretty specific number on protein. You're going to really focus on protein and water. You can swap your fats and your carbs to some degree, and that's really going to be up to a client and if they want to track with specificity. Some clients they don't want to have to track their food anymore. They've reached their goals and they just really understand how to build their plate, and they can really maintain their goals. If you're wanting further shift, you're probably going to need to track. And so we do have a maintenance plan for our clients to remain part of our groups, to be on our lives, to reach out to their coach, kind of all of those things at a super affordable rate.
Like
$39 a month.
like really affordable.
And, yeah, and they can still be part of our other programs and get our new educational tools and all those sorts of things. However, depending on where a person started, if they need to go back through that process, like I have several clients that came that really wanted, if we're just talking numbers alone, they really wanted, they had, 50 plus pounds of shift that they wanted to make. But then they also added other goals along the way. And oftentimes that's going to take more than one reverse cut process. But we talk about that all through the process. And man, it's so satisfying. And then as we talked about, depending on a goal, what we would do if somebody was looking to build muscle is we're really going to work with them on having a very strong resistance training protocol where they're working each muscle group a minimum of 2 times a week, and they're having enough fuel to truly build muscle. And then after that process, which the timeline really is dependent as to their goal and how much muscle build they want and all of that, then after that we would cut them so they can actually see the muscle better. So but we almost always start everybody, even that's wanting to do muscle building, on a reverse and cut, because once you've cut them, you can see what you have to work with. And like as far as the body goes, right? You have to have muscle to see muscle. So once we've cut you, you can really see the lean muscle mass, depending on where a person starts, much better. And then we can build you back up. And if you're wanting to build muscle on that, it gives us a much better indication as to what we need to do.
Yep.
So it's just this beautiful process. And you have a coach the entire time that is skilled and knowledgeable and has tools and provides accountability that's available 7 days a week, although we do try to protect our Sundays at minimum. Not all of us.
We all have boundaries.
We should.
So this is actually a very true testament as to who we are. Like, we should all have boundaries, because I do protect, I feel like,
Yeah.
and I think I can say this without you feeling offended, I do feel like I protect some of my time a little bit better than you do.
Oh, yeah.
Or I prioritize it a little bit more.
Yeah, she's just really good about setting boundaries and holding to them. And I'm like, I have messages and
People want to talk to
I
me?
need to respond to them. But I'm getting better.
She is getting better.
And so anyways, we are accessible. At minimum, we do ask our clients to check in at least once a week, but they often message more frequently than that. We have a whole check-in process that allows us to really look at your data, dive in, provide feedback, shift your assignment, all of that.
Oh, I want to talk real quick also, because we are running out of time. But another thing that our clients love is our groups that we have
Yeah.
within our app. So this is exclusive to current clients. So within our app, we have multiple groups that people can be a part of, and you can participate as much or as little. Every new client is added to these recipes groups. And so you can kind of see what's going on. But we have a group for like wins and transformations. We have just like a general important informations group. We have a food and recipes group, which is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because
we have an MM Fit group for those in that.
Totally. We have a monthly challenges group, but one of my favorites is the recipes and tips and tricks group. And what I love is like, there are hundreds of clients.
Yeah.
And so if one person is struggling, if I have a client who's like, man, I just don't know how to get the kind of protein that I like in throughout the day, I'm like, well, I'm going to throw it out to the group, you know, and say, hey, what are some tips and tricks that you guys have found are helpful to get more protein in during your day? And then instead of it just being one person, the coach, you know, giving my opinion or whatever, it's, you know, the several hundred clients that we have, you know, those who want to participate in the conversation. And so you get so many ideas of different things that are outside the box that maybe your coach wouldn't have thought of. So I love our
the groups. I love the camaraderie, the community, like how everybody cheers each other on. We also have 2 different giveaways we do every month that just to keep it fun. And then we're always adding new education, new protocols, new tools, just, you know, hearing the feedback and providing, like, our goal at the end of the day is of course to partner with our clients and helping them reach their physical goals, but we want them in their lifestyle shifts to really become more mindful. Like, are they hydrating their body? Are they practicing gratitude? Are they moving their body? They of course are going to understand how to fill their plate and how to fuel their body and their brain. But it's creating these little habits over time that really shift the trajectory of your life, your satisfaction, your health, your longevity. And then that snowballs, right, onto the people around you. And it's just so incredible. It's the little things, and having a community that is really encouraging of one another, and then having a coach that's in your corner that might see some of the things that you might not necessarily want the world to see, that can be there for you and encourage you and provide feedback, and sometimes maybe a direct, like, firm word if you need it. You know, it just really depends. And all of our coaches are really skilled and they care. And like I'm so grateful for it. And so
we don't hire just some geek off the street.
No, although I like geeks.
Yeah, but we don't just hire them off the street.
We don't. Okay, we talked about our mission. We talked about our process. We talked about sustainability, because honestly, at that point, you have gone through the process. You understand how to fuel your body. You have a high revving metabolism. You're eating more calories likely. And then you have flexibility within that to maintain what you've achieved. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. We have all sorts of different clients. We work with men, we work with women, we work with nursing mamas. Typically 18 plus. We have a couple of exceptions that we've made for younger, but it's typically 18 plus. We have worked with athletes that are really looking to improve performance. We of course work with looking at like fat loss, body composition changes, muscle preservation. We've worked with muscle building clients. We work with people that have, you know, other things at play. If you're a managed diabetic, meaning that you have your insulin under control, we would love to chat with you and see if we're a good fit. We work with a lot of people that come to us with hormonal imbalances.
Vegetarians?
Thyroid. Yeah, we work with vegetarians.
Boy, the sun is real bright right there.
And, you know, it just depends. We will tell you in your free consult if we feel like we're not a good fit. We do not want to bring you on if for any reason we may not be a good fit. We'll be really honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to waste your time or ours.
Okay, Christina said, and I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Yeah, we stacked them, remember?
This is so helpful, thank you. I am interested, but I haven't fully understood what the program is, and I keep forgetting to reach out and ask more questions. I am listening while I work, multitasking, wonderful. Well, if you want to, Christina, or any of you for that matter, if you want to do just a free, quick, we don't want to take a ton of your time, a free consult, you can head on over to macromavens.life. You click the hop on board button, and what that does is it allows the coach to reach out. We'll probably text you, or depending on what you indicate on there, and see if there's a good time for a quick chat, answer questions, see if we're a good fit, and if we are, then you we send you a link, you jump in, the whole process starts, you get all the tools you need right out of the gate, and you work one-on-one with a coach. So you guys, it works. Like, it worked for us, it changed our lives, and now we're getting to be a small part in changing other people's lives, and we have the coolest community. and it's growing and change is happening, and it's all about food. You're like, it's using nutrition strategically, and then all the other things that come along with it.
And man, one of my favorite things in the whole world is eating good food.
I love food.
I love to eat good food. And I don't feel deprived.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm missing out.
I can eat.
Yeah. In fact, funny story. Just real quick. Actually, I think this is true for you and myself. We can go to dinner. Well, it's actually not true for you because, well, I'll tell you why.
I'm like, what is she saying?
Let me think through this before I start speaking. So very often we will go to dinner and I will order like double protein on like a big, huge salad, and it comes out and it's this giant plate of food, and the waitress will automatically set it in front of my husband, and I'm like, oh, no, honey, that's mine. And then my husband will have something much smaller. Just because, like,
I love food.
Yeah, I love food. The same is not true for Emmy because her husband fasts all day and then he eats all of his calories in one fell swoop.
Which is not typical, and we don't always.
No,
we don't suggest
and we're not
that to our
telling you to
clients.
do that. But and he's a unique human being,
Yeah.
and he eats a lot of food, in one sitting. So anyway, all that's to say is a picture of I love to eat, and I am not neglecting myself in any way, and I allow treats when I have room for them, and it's just, you guys, it's just good.
Yeah, it's good. So let us know what questions you have, and if we can help, and take advantage of our special right now. We haven't done a special in a long time. We've been running this one. It's this is the last week to take advantage of it. We don't often do specials, but it's back to school special, and it is 25% off your first month on a 3, a 6, or 12-month package, which is a fantastic deal. It's great savings. And if anything, if you're interested, if you're on the fence, just chat with one of our coaches.
Yeah.
All you have to do is fill out the hop on board form. And I think for the most part, we hit on all the things. This has gotten long, so I think that we should probably head off. But you guys, if you have questions, let us know. We're here for it.
Yeah, you'll have to just stick around and watch for what's coming in the future because some of those things are secrets.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being a part of this today.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.